do. Thank you. And you could put the thumbs up on your screen too, as well. That's also fine. Like, I'll show you. Like, you could do a reaction. Thank you, Naya. Thank you, Tamika. Thank you, Ariana. Thank you, Sabrina. Okay. So now that you have those three, when I say brain dump, when I say journal, what I mean is you can brain dump in any format. Typically, when we're like overwhelmed, you probably haven't journaled or brain dumped in a while. So you can write in bullet form, one word form, or a paragraph. And you can just, any thought, any concern, anything that you have related to this area, you're going to write about. So for example, let me see if I could do. So say you put personal as one of the areas you want to write about. I'm gonna put a timer up for 15 minutes. And you're gonna brain dump all the things that come to mind when you think about yourself. So maybe that is skincare, right? That's one line. Maybe you want to start doing massaging face at night. You want to write waking up earlier to work out. Anything related to your mental, physical health, your spiritual health, you as an individual, hobbies, things that's related to you, things that you want to do, things that you're concerned about, things that overwhelm you. And I'm talking about personal as an example. Things that just keep going on in your mind about yourself, something that you want to fix about yourself, something you want to improve, you're going to write that. And it's going to come out maybe in one sentence, or it's going to come out in a paragraph. You just want to try to write, just keep getting it out and keep writing for 15 minutes. So that's for the first area. So we're going to put 15 minutes up, and you feel free to switch between the areas. So you're going to switch between the different papers, writing out whatever comes to mind. But we want to try to focus on one area at a time. Does that make sense, y'all? Okay. So we got our first area that we're going to write about. I'm going to put a timer up. Actually, I'm going to put it up for 5 minutes. I'm going to share my screen, and then you're just going to write out for 5 minutes. All right, go ahead, y'all. Oh, sorry. Okay, now we're going to do the next category or the next area that you picked, the second area. I'm gonna start it. Do y'all want to keep writing, take a pause for a minute, or keep writing? Now everybody don't talk at once. Oh yeah, I put it in the chat. Okay. Sorry. Okay, keep writing. All right, I'm gonna start it and then we're gonna do the second area. Okay, I'm gonna restart it and we're gonna do the last area. Okay. How are we doing? How was that? How'd that feel? Did you write down a lot? I would love to know also like what areas y'all kind of focused on. The ones I put on the screen, I'm for me it's personal finance and business, even though I changed it to relationship. But yeah, I would love to hear like what areas y'all focused on, or if you want to share things you wrote down or not. It don't got to be that type of party.
I wrote about personal education and finances. And I like the idea of like having any format to write because I think I was able to kind of like release a lot of things that come up when I think about those three things, like whether it's like things I want to accomplish, things I already have in motion. And so like it was just a place to kind of like fully brain dump. And then from there, I feel like I'm able to kind of like, okay, piece by piece, like pick from it. So I really like this activity.
Hey, yay! I love to hear that. We all focus on the same stuff. You was gonna say something, Ariana?
No, I was just looking at everybody's answers in the chat. It's like money is like up there for all of us, it looks like.
It sure is. So as I was so I had put personal finance and business and I wanted to as I was writing for my business and I'm writing, it was starting to look more like relationships. And so I wanted to kind of just remind you all that sometimes the area you focus on is the area you're going to put all of your time and energy. And that's the area that's actually going to help other areas, right? So like, say you want to get a house and you want to, renovate the house, you want to do all the things with a house, but you're in an apartment. So maybe focusing on your finances and your education is going to help you buy the house and help you then be able to focus on home. So just to give you an example of like how you prioritize, because we're all focusing on all these areas at the same time. It's not gonna, and let me go back for some folks. Hi, Debbie, for some folks who joined in. So the 8 areas: personal relationships, work, education, finance, home, project, business. We're all simultaneously focused on those at the same time. But like Oprah said, you can have everything, but not at the same time. So some things are gonna not be as prioritized, right? Like some areas. And so what we want to focus on, like these are the 3 areas that I'm giving my daily attention to. All right. So now that we did that, anybody want to share anything before we move on? No? Okay. Totally fine. Just always want to leave space. You never know what comes up or what someone wants to share. So now that we did some brain dumping and 9 to your point, that's why I always like to give the option bullet, 1 word, paragraph, because sometimes we're thinking about things in different ways. And so just to give yourself space. Now, after we get off, y'all can do this for all the other areas. So what you're going to do, we're going to start with, and I will put a timer up again. We're going to go back to personal or go back to your first area, right? And so what you're going to do is this is how you select, this is how you figure out what's a priority within that area. So has anyone ever heard of the ABC method or the Eisenhower matrix? Make sure I'm saying it. Yeah, Eisenhower matrix. So it's basically a time management productivity tool where you categorize your task and your projects into 3 different priorities. A priority, B priority, and C priority. Let me put something up on the screen so y'all can get a visual. So the ABC method is broken up into A task, B task, C task, and sometimes D task. Sometimes people eliminate that altogether. So A tasks are things that's like you need to work on immediately. These are things that are urgent and important. B tasks are things that are important, but they're not urgent. C tasks are not urgent, nor are they important. And then D tasks are just we're not gonna do those. So I want us to go down the list of the things that we brain dump, and you're gonna distinguish between what's an A task and what's a B task. And I'm gonna help, I have some questions to help you distinguish between what is an A task versus a B task. A lot of us, our daily activities are C tasks. So things that are not important, nor are they urgent. And a lot of us confuse A tasks with B tasks, things that are important, but they're not urgent. Like I see happening all the time. So let me go back and I wanna share these different questions to help you kind of like, how do you determine what's an A task? So now that we know these are the 3 areas we're focusing on, we know finances is an important area, right? So we'll use finance as an example. So if all of the things you wrote down next to each line, put if it's an A task, a B task, A task or a B task. C tasks usually just kind of weed themselves out. So when you're thinking about what's the A task, you want to ask yourself, like, if finances is a priority and this line that you just wrote, what's the consequences if you don't complete this or do this or focus on this? Like, what are the consequences? That's how you really distinguish between an A task versus a B task. There's consequences to not completing it, addressing it, or focusing on it. So like, say for example, say for example, under finances, you want to get a job, right? So a new job, switch a job. And so a part of that is applying for jobs on Indeed. And so that would be an A task. What are the consequences if you don't do this? You don't open up your pool to have different opportunities to get hired. Because the more you apply, the different places you apply to, the more you up the chances of getting an interview. Say under finances, right? Another thing you wrote is networking, or let's not use networking, or telling people in your circle that you're looking for work, or talking to people. So maybe you put up a post on Facebook that you're looking for work, or respond to that message of the person who told you, oh, hey, my job is hiring. You should apply. Here's the link to apply. That would be an A task. So when you go through your finance and the different things you wrote, what's an A task? What's a B task? Is this making sense so far? Okay. So another way to distinguish what's going to happen to your mental, your physical, your emotional, and your spiritual health if you don't complete this thing or do this thing that you wrote. Like if you don't address it or focus on it, what's going to happen to you as an individual? If it's negative or if it's positive, that's an A task. Anything that's going to have a positive impact on your mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health and well-being, those are things that you want to prioritize within the umbrella of finance. So that could be checking your bank balance every day to improve your financial literacy or improve your budgeting skills. So this is just how you decide A and B within finance. And we're going to do that for each area. How was it 11:50 already?
Time flew.
That's not really making sense, but it's kind of making sense. Okay. And then the last question you want to ask yourself, like, how do you distinguish between an A task versus a B task? It's like, if you complete this thing, if you focus on it, or if you address it, right? Because everything you wrote isn't necessarily a task, but you could turn it into one. But if you address it, how is that going to impact your life? What did I put? Impact the other areas. So just like I mentioned, say you want to buy a house. You want to renovate a house, you want to do all the things. So you want to increase your income, or you want to get a new certification so you can demand more money at your job, right? So the specific task is like going back to school, getting good grades within this specific subject and getting this degree so you can then demand more money or open up your resume to more opportunities, right? So that's going to be able to help you get a new job. So I'm using very kind of like, not arbitrary, but very like basic kind of cause and effect. But this is how you think about like, okay, so within my education is something that's important. So getting into this school or doing this online program, that's going to impact finances, and that's going to impact home. And that's going to impact personal too, because it's going to impact you as an individual, and it's going to impact your career. So like A task are things that's going to have the most impact on different areas of your life. It's honestly really cool to see, like, say within personal, one of the things you put, and I'm actually saying this for myself because I'm trying to work out more. But say like physical activity is something you wrote down under personal. Working out, that is going to have the most impact on every area of your life, right? Like it's going to help your mind, it's going to help your heart, it's going to help your spirit, it's going to help you show up differently at work. And so doing this one, focusing on this one activity is going to spread across positively. So that's kind of how you think about like what's important and urgent. Now, B task. Do y'all want to share if you are having confusion about distinguishing between A and B? Because I feel like that's usually like a lot of times it's like B task or things that look like it's A, but really C. It's really not important, or is it urgent? Is this making sense? Where are y'all with kind of writing, like you're writing A next to these different line items? How is that specific activity going?
I have a question. Let me put my video back on. What if everything is an A? Because, I'm like in desperate need of some of these things. Everything is an A. So is
You
that
ever
okay?
heard,
Mhm.
so you ever heard of the saying, like, if everything is urgent, then nothing is urgent?
Ooh. Ooh, no. Ooh. Well, this is finances, honey. I'm gonna be on the streets. This is urgent.
So you're under finance,
hmm
everything's an A. Okay,
Well, not everything, but a lot of it is.
that's fine. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I just wanted
Now,
to make sure.
so this is the tricky part though. Now when you go to the other areas, now
hmm
you see a pattern if everything is an A, if a lot of things are A there and a lot of things are A in the third area, that's also fine, right?
Okay. hmm
What's gonna happen?
Well, I can see because the finances in business. So if I take care of these A's in business, the the A's in finance will probably go down.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay.
But what's gonna happen is we're gonna put A's, and I want to
hmm
spend a little time because now we're gonna take it a step further. Now you want to schedule your A's.
Okay.
You don't want to just leave it on the paper, right? We
hmm
schedule our A's, and what's gonna happen is if you have these three major areas,
hmm
there's a bunch of A's in all three areas, and then now you want to schedule these A's. If
Right.
you put it on a calendar, you're like, oh, this is too much.
Ooh, love it. Okay.
And then let's take it even further than that, right? Let's take it even further. Let's say we run with that. I have these three areas. I have a bunch of A's on each list. I'm going to schedule all of these things. What happens is you realize, okay, all of these are A's. All of these have to get done. When you realize all of those things end up not getting done, you have to reevaluate like, oh, this isn't really urgent because it didn't get done. And there was no consequence of it not getting done.
Okay.
So now
Okay.
you see
That
where I'm
makes
going?
yes. I love it how it's coming together. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, it's coming together. Yes, yes. I try to break it down. All right, so let's schedule these things, y'all. So this is where, when you think about your daily schedule, this is really important because only you know, like I could suggest different schedules and different time management, things like that, but only you know your capacity and your schedule. So now that you wrote A next to each one, let's schedule these things. So this is where y'all are gonna have to call out because I can help you figure out like how does this go on the schedule? Because we can't just leave it because it'll stay in this notebook. We got to put it on the calendar. It'll stay in this notebook, and then a year from now, you'll be like, oh, I'm supposed to. I don't know if this happens to y'all. At the top of the year, you do this, you have the things that are important. The middle of the year comes, you start getting distracted and doing other stuff. And then you get towards the end of the year and you revisit those very important things. And you're like, what the? Now, why the hell did I stop focusing on those things? What happened? This happens to me sometimes. So that's why we want to put it on the calendar because these are 8 things, very important things. So if y'all ready to really take it a step forward and really like focus on these 8 things, give me an 8 thing. And this is where we get serious when you start scheduling things. So let's say, do y'all use anything, a planner or app to schedule, things that you have to do in your day? Like how do you manage your schedule?
Yeah, it's interesting because I was actually just talking about this last night. Like I really, I kind of fell out of like day trading, investing, right, and that kind of stuff for quite a while. And I was just, and when I was saying, I was like, if you're gonna be into that kind of stuff, right, it has to be built into your schedule. And like I do use a planner, and that was one thing is like I've had to kind of rebuild my schedule and say exactly what I want my day to look like. And I was like, and so it has to be in the morning, right? Like, because if you're gonna do that kind of stuff, like that's when things pop off, right? It's you can do it in the afternoon, but you done missed all the financial news and stuff. So you have to be really intentional when you really want to either bring that habit back in or bring it in, right? You have to actually make time for it. I thought about that 'cause I was just like, I really like, in order for me to complete that goal, I have to really be intentional about my mornings, right? And kind of restructuring that and putting that, like, I said, in my planner. And so that's one thing I had to think about. I was like, yeah, I can't really just, do it whenever. I have to actually schedule it to make sure it actually gets done. And I'm actually completing that goal, which is part of my goal. So yeah. Like, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Christy. The context matters. I love that you said that. Context of these things matter. Not everything, but for the most part, like if your goal is to under personal, if it's related to anything with weight loss or physical fitness or even like gut health, and you're like, okay, I want to do ginger shots. Taking a ginger shot in the morning, that is when your body, like that's when your body is optimal to receiving those nutrients, right? And so like that's a good point, Christy. Like when you have to do these things, like the time of day matters. So what are y'all are y'all using anything to like schedule? Do you schedule things that you have to do? Let's start there.
Yes.
Okay. No. Okay. This when things get fuzzy. This when people check out.
I don't schedule things with myself, which is a problem, but I always schedule things where other people are helping me. So if I'm going to my chiropractor or my esthetician, the doctor, those get scheduled, but I don't schedule like, all right, at 12 o'clock, you've got to do your workout, or at 8 o'clock, you've got to go to the gym or do your walk. I don't I don't keep the appointments with myself, which is what actually my weight loss group was talking about. Somebody had mentioned that. And that's something that I want to start doing.
I don't keep a schedule with myself. I'm writing that down. That's being used. You're gonna see that. You're gonna be like, I got it from
Somebody
you.
else said it. So I don't remember, I remember who it was, but Joe was like, that's right. Cause we tend to, women especially, right? Women of color, we tend to not take care of ourselves. And then all of a sudden it's like, I need a day by myself to just do things. If we scheduled it, if we took the time to prioritize ourselves, then we wouldn't feel in such a panic sometimes, or like the year goes by, then all of a sudden, boom, like everything that I wanted to do, I wasn't able to do.
Yeah. What did Michelle Obama say? Our forever first lady. She said, yeah, we're too low on our like to-do list. And it's so cliche, but it's like you realize like, oh my God, this is so true. Okay, Miranda, you say you need a better tool for scheduling. Yeah, paper planning is everything. It's not getting done. So would you all, because we have to do a follow-up for scheduling, because sometimes, I could sit here and say, I can jump to how to schedule, but I think there's a middle. You have to find the right scheduling that's right for you. So it almost feels like there needs to be like a scheduling 101, Google Calendar, planner, like how do you schedule stuff? Does that feel right? So Sabrina, you're saying you don't schedule things. Ariana, you're saying you don't schedule things. Miranda, you're saying you need a better tool for scheduling. Would it be helpful to have like something just like this, just for scheduling? Because I love me scheduling.
Okay, for me, it would work because I have ADHD really bad, and I always buy a planner. I have so many planners, journals. It doesn't make a difference. Right now, I got about 4 or 5 of them. I would put it down, then I have to figure out where did I locate it. And I've tried saying this is just going to be that, and then I have to remember to look at it. And I've tried to put it on my phone. It's just I have to find the proper tool that will work for my brain.
You feel like you need the proper tool that will work for your brain.
And I've
So
tried a few of them, so that's why.
you tried what?
I've tried them all, and it seemed like I'm back to, where I bought different systems, this, and that. And so I was even, well, I have one, ADHD coach, because I need some little extra help with it. Like,
So
and that's
what,
my problem. You helped me. I mean, I already knew my problem, but this really helped me to see that I'm not consistent. I'll have a good day and I'll just work, and then the next couple of days yeah. So it's consistency is what I need help in.
what I hear too, and I'm always gonna go to like mindset stuff. You said you're
Mhm.
looking for the right tool. And I think
Mhm.
sometimes we, want this like perfect, not perfect, but like we think we're gonna get the right piece of information, the right thing. And you also said something key. You already know your problems. We all know our issues, and we all know everything we need is already here. So it's like, what's the difference between I know my problem, I know I've tried all these things, but I still need something else. And I feel like you don't need nothing else, Sabrina.
No, when you just told me about the A, B, C, that was
See,
it. And when you said if everything, then there's nothing's important. So that was like, yeah, that was big. So I got to see what's really important. And if it's important, you're going to be excited about doing it. But if you get all these other things, it's not. This, C, D, you're not going to get to them. So,
yeah. Well, sometimes the things that are super exciting to our spirit, to our
mhm,
soul, we actually are not excited to do because maybe we're like intimidated or scared or overwhelmed with doing it. So sometimes the things that's really, really important, those are the very things that we avoid. And that's like, I'm not excited to do it. And like, oh, I won't do it. Like, I know this thing is fulfilling, but I actually no thanks.
right.
That is not always a sign that it's not urgent and it's not important.
Mhm,
Um, sometimes it's just a sign like, oh, it is important because we're lacking urgency to do it. And we're focused on all these other things that feel more important, but it's really
mhm.
not. But we could go on and on. Let me, Miranda, yes. I've also realized that actually seeing my schedule visually, it makes it more likely I will actually execute what I need to do, like to not always bring stored phone or inside a journal notebook along with reminders. Yes, all of this. It's given we need part two for scheduling.
I want to know something really quickly because I just got recently diagnosed with ADHD in like the last 2 months. And prior to that, Sabrina, I was like you. I was just like the Google Calendar ain't working, nothing worked, right? I just first figure out. I was very clear digital does not work, like for me at all. I don't know what it is, but I don't really like digital's not staying ingrained. So I learned that paper planners do work for me, and then to figure out which paper planner I feel like I customize the most, right? So trying to figure out what's flexible to me. But I feel like Rebecca said, even though the system it is important, but what I had to learn, I started small. So I was like, what is really, really important for me to get down packed right daily? Like something I know I really want to like focus on. So I focused on like my health first. Like I wanted to make sure I'm getting, 12 cups of water and all. I focused on like, and once I got that, then I was like, okay, now I'm doing that consistently. Then what else can I bring in? Right now, what do I want to focus on next to be consistent? In a sense, like I was like, what do I want to focus on being consistent with first? And then once I really felt I accomplished that, and that was automatic, right? It wasn't even a reminder anymore. Then I was like, okay, let's now bring in something else I want to be consistent. So not feeling, cause I feel like sometimes you feel like you have to do everything, and that is super overwhelming. So I definitely had to break it down in chunks first. I think definitely priority, right, can help with that, but it's something to think about. Is a system important, but also just one step at a time too. I think that can be super helpful and not being overwhelmed as well. So, yeah. Ooh, sorry, guys, I'm washing my hair today. I was so sorry. Like, yes, that is conditioner in my hair. Sorry.
It's okay. We love to see
Oh
it.
my gosh, like yes. Yes.
How do you hear that though, Sabrina? Does that like
Oh, well,
resonate?
I've been dealing with it. I got diagnosed 25 years ago. So the water, I know because we don't go to water, we don't go to bath. I've gotten that down, and it's just the and like what she says, I'm a paper person. You put on this phone, then I'm gonna be distracted by scrolling through something else. So no, I do those systems, and like I do right, but this, like I said, it's me finding it. It's me keeping up. So maybe I need to. I gotta. It's got to be important. I like how you broke this down. So I think it's the matter of me knowing this is what you got to do today, instead of me just like I got all these things to do, and so then you get overwhelmed and nothing gets done.
And nothing gets done. Yes. And I think that's kind of what I was saying about like what's urgent. Because if like it's everything's urgent and then you realize like all of these was urgent and I have to do all these things today, but none of these things got done. So how urgent were they really? And so that's what just kind of like make you think like, oh, I'm putting this urgency on things. There's actually no consequence of these things not getting done. Um, this false sense of urgency is going to be the death of all of us. All right, y'all. I want to close out. We had a couple other things to do. Where is my little agenda? So do y'all feel at the very least clear on what's a daily priority? Like, do we feel clear like, okay, this is something I need to be doing daily? Okay. Now, where I think we landed is the last step of this was to review those priorities and schedule them, put them on a calendar, put them somewhere where we're going to be doing them every day at a specific time, or at the very least every day. That's where we landed. And that's where part 2 is what we need. Or correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so scheduling 101. Get your planners and your calendars, or I have to put something together. Because scheduling is such a broad topic because there's so many different ways to schedule. So to be continued. Thank y'all so much. I hope this was helpful. I'm excited to see what you all are able to kind of do with the ABC method. Definitely feel free to apply to the other areas and brain dump and go through the list. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So yeah, I'll see y'all for part 2. I'll try to put it together before the end of the year for sure. But anything, any parting words, parting questions?
Thank you for this space. It was very needed. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you. It was wonderful to get my mind, to get me moving, get my mind off other things. So it's wonderful. You helped to make me realize we got things to do. We ain't got time for this. So thank you.
Baby, we don't have time for this.
We don't, yeah, we got a target on our back. We got to get it going. So yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, ladies. Keep your head up. Choose peace. Reclaim your peace because, like Sabrina said, we really do. It's really a target. It's really like, oh man, we got to focus on what is important because it's going to be a lot of distractions, a lot of things trying to tear us down, but we won't have it. All right, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday as best as you can. And I will see y'all in part 2. And feel free to email me. The emails I sent y'all, you could just reply directly to that email. All right, have a good afternoon, y'all. Bye.